begins to curse him, and David looks at him and he says to him this, I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts. I want to teach you how to dream. How to dream. A friend of mine bought a book a while ago, and man, I want to find it. It was just called, I think it was the 100 Greatest Speeches in the World. And one of them, of course, was Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream. I mean, when you read that and you listen to his voice on tape just talk, it just touches you so deep. I have a dream. Did you know that you're supposed to have a dream? Your life will not go the way you want it unless you have a dream and you know how to dream. You see, your enemy has a dream for you. It says in Mark, well, actually it says all through the Word. Jesus says, but the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's his dream for you. You have an enemy. His dream is to kill you. His dream is to destroy your marriage, your kids, your lineage, your generations. His desire is to steal your reputation, to steal what's important to you. It's to destroy your trust in the Most High God, to not walk the paths He's prepared for you ahead of time. You have an enemy, and he's got a dream for you. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is David and Goliath. Do you know I've been preaching on that now for probably 40 years, and I keep seeing something new all the time? Goliath had a dream. Now, he didn't say it that way. I have a dream. But he did declare his dream. Send out a champion to fight me because I'm going to whip him, and then you're going to serve us. Which meant we're going to kill the men, we're going to rape the wives, and we're going to make all of your children become servants and slaves. That was his dream. And that evil dream was coming from his country, that culture. This is what's going to happen. Goliath had a dream. Now, what's interesting is in this story, the Philistines came out every day, and they would stand on this hill overlooking the valley of Elah. And on the other side, God's army, or the Israelite army, would walk out because the Philistines were coming to take their country, steal it, fight for it. And in doing that, they had this new kind of strategy. Rather than go and fight and lose half our army trying to get it, let's send our favorite guy out there. Let's send Goliath, biggest, toughest, meanest. He was over 9 feet tall. His lungs would have been twice the size of mine. And, you know, the bigger something has for a chest, the more that voice can just carry. Whoa. And so Goliath would come out, and he'd begin to scream at them. He would take center stage. All of his soldiers were watching him, and all of the Israeli army were watching. And he'd get out there and he'd say, "Send a man to fight me." And he would do this during the day, not just once. We know at least twice, and probably more, depending upon what was going on. He would come out to the center stage of this valley of Elah, and he would scream his dream. He did it the first day, the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day, the seventh day, the second week, the third week, the fourth week, the fifth week, the sixth week, this guy would get out there and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what's crazy? They listened to him. They listened to him. An entire Israeli army just stood there. Benjamin, did you hear what he said? He said he's going to kill us. Did you hear that, Reuben? Yeah. Well, you know what? And they began to share his dream with each other. Goliath had a dream. It was a sick dream. It was an evil dream. It was a dream that was his arrogance. It was all about him being king, him rising up, him making everybody else kowtow. It was about making the money off of their country. I mean, it was nothing but personal grandizement and narcissistic, egotistic. I mean, it was just all that. And he'd get out there every day. Now, Goliath was so tall, over 9 feet tall. Some stats say 11 feet tall. So this Goliath would come out every day, and he would share his dream. So, Leon, that's not really a dream. No, listen to me, because as he shared his dream, he began to speak the language of the heart, which is images, video, which is pictures, and all the opposing army began to see themselves killed. He would use language like feed their bodies to the birds. Now, he wasn't talking about chickadees. He's talking about vultures. For some of you that come from countries where there are vultures, it's sick to watch them take out a body. I mean, the battlefield is a disgusting place when he was painting pictures of killing them, stealing them, and they just sat there day after day and listened to his dream. There's the dream that faith builds, and there's the dream that fear builds. The fastest way to control any group of people is to pound fear into them. It's the quickest way, because then once you pound fear into them and you get it past fear till it becomes phobia, then you can get them to do anything quickly. But this little guy named David, now he wasn't little, but he was young. He just hadn't been listening to this. So he comes to bring food to his brothers. And he's probably in his late teens. And he just happens to be there when Goliath walks out, and he goes. And he looks around, and knees are knocking. Teeth are chattering. And they have this look on their face. Did you hear that? He's not just going to stab us once. He's going to stab us twice. I mean, dead's dead. I mean, don't just stab me after that. I mean, whatever was going on. And so David's looking around. He sees his oldest brother and his second oldest brother. He admires these men are warfare. They're trained in war. And he looks around, and he can't understand what's going on. Why? Because he's not pickled. Because he goes, what in the world? His brother has a talk with him. You arrogant little thing, who do you think you are? Well, you haven't answered, do you? He gave him that speech. Why? Because fearful people get mad when someone stands against their fear. So David begins to talk back. And Goliath, he begins to curse him with his God. Said when he saw David come up, he got upset because he was having a good time. 40 days of being the man. Walk on the stage, got all your equipment, boom, boom, boom. He was the star. He was the leader. Everyone's listening to him, except he was wrong. So David comes towards him, reaches down, picks up 5 stones, puts them in his little pouch. Someone said to me one time, David must have been worried about missing because he picked up 5 stones. If you go into 2 Samuel, did you know that Goliath had 4 sons who were all battle-trained warriors as well? And that his men, or he, took them all out, and it mentions them by name, taking them out. David didn't just kill giants, he raised up giant killers. So he put 5 in because there was Goliath and 4 more giants back there. He planned on taking them all out. Well, Leon, you don't know that for sure. No, I don't. But then why didn't he pick up 6 stones? 3 stones. So David begins to move towards him, which irritates him because he's lost his star position of leadership, and it's crazy how many leaders get intoxicated with power. And he begins to curse him, and David looks at him and he says to him this, I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts, and I'm taking your head off. And then angels jumped down and shot him forward, and lightning came out of the sky and destroyed his sword. And no, I was just making that part up. No, he simply did what he did every day. He threw rocks and he aimed it at trees, and he had a slingshot. Pulls his slingshot out, puts one rock in, runs at Goliath. Bam, straight into his forehead. Down he goes. We can't really see anything miraculous here, but it is supernatural because of this stunning courage, the stunning faith. Words that take on that dream straight on and refuses. And he's not going to argue with Goliath. He has a better dream. He doesn't go, no, you're not. No, I disagree. No way. No. He listens to him talk, and he just declares his dream, that his God would win.